Hello, truth seekers. Lawrence here, and welcome to Easy Enlightenment. So, the idea of letting go is scary, isn't it? It's scary for you, it's scary for everyone. When there is a fear rising from the idea of letting go, who is actually afraid of letting go? The real you is not scared. The real you is actually observing that you are scared. Your true nature is witnessing you are scared. The scared part of you is the ego self. The constructed self is scared of letting go. The constructed self, the ego self, is already created by attaching to something, by identifying with something. And letting go means disidentifying yourself. And disidentifying yourself means letting go of the control. And ego self don't like it. The illusion, the constructed self don't like it, this idea. Why? Because letting go means the death of the ego. And the whole purpose of the ego is to hold on to the identification and prolong the game. And when the idea of letting go comes in, the ego self, the constructed self, will create further illusion for you not to let go by giving you the reference of the past struggle, the past pain. And when the past is reminded, the letting go becomes tough. Because nobody wants to go through the pain, nobody wants to go through struggle, nobody wants to go through the uncertainty. Because the past experience was painful, and we don't want to repeat the painful scenario. So we eventually listen to the ego's narratives and we hold on to things. Now, some of you are definitely able to let go some stuff. The letting go seems easier for you right now. But what you are letting go are the things that are not working in your life. And you are letting go those things just to create a space for new things to come in. It's just rearranging your identification with the stuff, with the world, and you're rearranging your mind. You're just upgrading yourself. And life is about upgrade, no doubt. When you are focused enough in the world, you see things, you see the deeper pattern. And the more you see the pattern, the more you will organize, the more you will simplify, the more you create a room for new experience to come in, new credential to come in, new identification to come in. And that's what the life is on the relative sense. So the letting go you're practicing right now is coming from the ego self as well. Your ego is not liking something, so the ego is making you discard certain things. The ego is wanting certain things. The ego is making you invite certain things. So that's what's happening. The ego is playing the role of ego is playing the letting go practice. But when it comes to spiritual freedom, when it comes to awakening to the truth of who we are, we have to let go all identification. Letting go of the identification, all identification means letting go of the ego. All drama, all attachment has to go. That means we have to let go of the control. All control is played by ego self. And especially when we have the reference of the spirituality, true spirituality, that we have to let go everything to see who we are, to see the truth, to enlighten ourselves. That's where we fail, isn't it? We fail to disidentify ourselves with the world. Why? Because the world has created a comfort for us. The world has created fun for us. We have identified ourselves with something in life. And with that identification came further unfolding of comfort, support, safety, fun. And when we see all those things coming from what we have identified with, now that has become the conditioning in us, further layers in us. And when we hear to be free, we have to let go. The logical thinking makes it harder to let go. Letting go means giving up your comfort. Letting go means giving up your fun, your support, your safety, your flow. And when there's a logical thinking that if I give up, I will be in the position of uncertainty, in the position of no control. The story begins. The logical thinking itself is the ego, healthy ego, playing the role. And when you see the logical thinking making sense out of that thinking, then letting go is tough, isn't it? If you are already in the spiritual practice and you've been practicing letting go, notice what you have been letting go and what are the things that you're not able to let go. There's definitely a lot of things that you're having a hard time to let go after being part of the spiritual practice. And you know what you are holding on to. Especially when the spirituality is influencing the positive side of the spirituality, and we hold on to the positive side of the spirituality. We only discard the negative. We hold on to the positive. And holding on to the positive aspect is also the ego. It's a healthy ego. We cannot choose what we like to let go and what we like to hold on. That is a partial letting go. Everything must go to see who we are. Everything must go to see the truth. And this is where we're failing. So what we are doing in the spiritual practice is a superficial work. And that work is done by the ego self. To figure out the truth of who you are, you have to give up the spirituality as well. Spirituality is the highest meaning in life. And we identify ourselves with the spiritual practices, spiritual ritual, spiritual experience. We hold on to those things. Those must go as well. The subtle layer in the spiritual practice we hold on to, because those practices probably inviting further experience in your life. And you're holding on to those experiences because you think that those experience starts to upgrade, and finally you will be revealed. The truth will be revealed for you. And that is simply a false illusion. Why? Because the truth of who you are is not the experience. Truth of who you are is not through the control approach, not through the practice. To see the truth of who you are, you have to drop the practice. And this is where people are having a hard time to drop the spiritual practice. All the spiritual practice was there just to anchor yourself in awareness. Before spirituality, everybody is scattered in their focus. People are not able to, concentrate. But through the practice, you are able to sustain your focus. All the spirituality gives you, help you sustain your focus. And that was the part of the spiritual practice. But after being able to sustain your focus, what's next? It's time to discard every layers. The spiritual freedom is not about the experience. It's not about the mystical experience. To see the truth of who we are is not a mystical experience. It's not imagination. All the mystical experience, all the visual stuff that we go through in life is happening on the consciousness itself. It's the layer unfolding on the consciousness. And a spiritual journey is about recognizing the background that supports all experience, all visual effect to come in. But when there is a mystical experience, any further visual experience, we naturally assume it's special. It's God experience. And we get addicted to those experiences. That is simply a distraction. Distraction not to look further. Distraction not to see the plain sight truth. Plain sight truth is about catching the nature of the consciousness itself. Catching we are the consciousness. And consciousness allow all experience to come and go. All mystical experience to come and go. All ideas to come and go. Consciousness allows everything to appear in us and dissolve in us. And spiritual freedom is about recognizing the plain sight truth, which is the consciousness, not the special effect coming in the head, in the mind. All mind is false. So see how we get attached to spiritual practice, and we keep repeating the spiritual practice just to go through that motion of special effect in us. And eventually people get addicted to it, and people start to preach these things just to, entangle others as well. People are already entangled, getting addicted to these experiences, and people share this idea, and people don't know what is true and what is false, and everybody is hungry for a spiritual experience, spiritual freedom, and everybody is trying it and getting lost in that same flow of untrue stuff. So ultimately we have to give up the practice as well. And if you have a hard time giving up your spiritual practice, then you ask yourself why. So that's why the self-inquiry is a direct approach to get to the plain sight truth of who we are. And this self-inquiry has been neglected the whole time. And some people are being part of the self-inquiry but getting stuck at some point. And also they give up. So some people are not discarded this practice because for many reasons. Some people are involved in it and then give up, not able to figure out the truth. Think about the who am I practice, right? When you align with the who am I practice, you're asking yourself who am I and sitting with it. But if you just sit with the who am I, you go nowhere. You only see all the layers that you have identified yourself with, and that's all you see. It's one part of this the self-inquiry practice, but there is also a big chunk which is about subtracting the mind, which is about dissolving the mind. And subtracting the mind or dismantling the mind hasn't been there in most of the spiritual practitioners. And because of that missing piece, people are not able to see the plain sight truth, and also get addicted to all the other spiritual practices. So again, to figure out the truth of who we are, we must let go everything. We have to detach from everything. And to make a healthier detachment, to make the process go unbroken, self-inquiry is the way. Self-inquiry will make you what to let go according to your inquiry. So I'm saying, to see the truth of who you are, letting go is the key. But letting go is scary right now for everyone because of the ego self and its narratives. Because letting go means uncertainty. You're giving up the control. Having no control is scary for everyone. You're not alone in this journey. Everyone is scary. But now, only your ego self is getting scared. Your true self is watching you being scared. And spiritual journey is about recognizing the observer self and taking the seat of the observer. And how do we do that? Is by dismantling, subtracting the mind. So right now, practice dismantling the mind. The mind is the one thing that creates a lot of trouble in your life, isn't it? Mind creates conflict, mind creates fear, mind is the source of all struggle in life. So the spiritual journey is about dissolving the mind, dissolving the root cause of the struggle. So how to dissolve the mind eventually is by being thorough of the mind, understanding the nature of the mind through dismantling, through subtracting. So you can do this. There are stuff that we are heavily attached to, or we have so much fear in life. You trace your mind backward by asking yourself, why am I scared? Why am I afraid? Or why am I attached to whatever you are attached to? Our life is unfolding in certain ways. Everybody have their own different layers of attachment, different fear. Whatever fear, attachment you are right now going through in life, you investigate. You ask with why. You ask of why. Allow the why to reveal the answer, and whatever answer resurfaces in you, you trace that answer further back by using why. Yeah, simple why is going to help you go all the way to figure out the root cause of your fear, root cause of your struggle, the root cause of your attachment. That itself is a deep-seated conditioning in you, belief in you, which came from the experience that you have gone through in the past. And because of the past experience of struggle, or even a joy, there is this conditioning in you. To see the deep-rooted conditioning, you have to trace your struggle backward to see the ingrained conditioning. And your life is happening from there right now. Because of that conditioning, we are moving in a certain way, and then we have to see that, and we have to let go of that as well. And when we have this idea of letting go comes in, and that's where we see the fear. And we have to trace the fear backward, all the way back, until there's no fear is left. And that's the way to wake up to the truth of who we are. That's the journey. Okay, so trace back. Make the habit of self-inquiry. Trace your struggle back, trace your fear back, trace your attachment back. And making this habit will help you understand the nature of the mind. It will help you how the mind becomes concrete in you, and how mind becomes a reality as ego self, the constructed self, come alive. You see that. And basically this journey will help you all the way to see the truth of who you are. So self-inquiry, rely on yourself in the journey. Yes, we need all the support in life, but self-inquiry, relying on your awareness to dismantle the mind is enough to figure out the truth of who you are. So think about it. Okay, that's all in this video. I hope this makes sense to you to some extent. Trace your mind, be part of self-inquiry. Thanks for watching. That's all in this video. Take care for now. Bye.